Hey, and welcome to this week's show. I'm really excited. I'm going to do something fairly different this week. I'm going to be working with a gentleman who I know reasonably well, who has been in business and been working part-time and is now looking at growing their business. And one of the things I wanted to do was reverse engineer what I know about building businesses so that they run independently from you, so that you work way less and earn more. So this particular gentleman, his name's Steve, doesn't make the mistakes that most business owners make, which is building themselves into their business. So if that's of interest to you, watch on. Welcome, Steve. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Perry. Yeah, glad to be here and looking forward to our chat today. Yeah, very excited.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to helping you as much as I can. And I've got my head business coach on here, Brian Goodeve. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Perry. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Brian, how you going?
I'm going really good, thank you.
Okay, so what is it that you're looking at attempting, Steve? What is it you want to do? What's the vision for your business, or the next developmental phase for your business?
Well, the ultimate vision of the business is, my mantra is health, wealth, and location freedom. Yep. So essentially what I want from my business is not to be tied up on a day-to-day level of having to be, seeing people one-on-one. But initially, the overview of it is coaching, life and leadership, so basically self-leadership, so life and leadership coaching.
Aha, okay, great. Oh, we're going to have some fun with this. Yep, okay, so the first thing, now we won't go to Avatar yet, because I can really bring some insight here that will really help you, I believe. Just share a little bit about your background and your skill set.
Sure. So I've been a Qigong practitioner. Qigong, in case for those of you that don't know, is Qi is energy and Gong means work. So think of something like Tai Chi. I've been doing that for the last sort of almost 20 years as a practitioner, then also as an instructor. I had my own, I used to run classes, regular classes, which were just led to burnout really, a few years back. And then since then I got involved with coaching, life coaching, and had my own business doing that and sort of doing one-on-one coaching. Again, very much time poor in that space. Then the last 4 years, I've kind of switched my coaching focus into the mental health field, and I've been a mental health coach in that space, kind of working, again, hourly rate type stuff, but really gleaned some skills working with groups of people going through some very severe and persistent mental illness. So it's been a beautiful time of growth and learning. And essentially, alongside that, I've been a musician for many years, and one of my key joys that gives me energy is presenting and being out in front of people. And I've naturally been a teacher all of my life. So they're kind of my core skills. And I'm looking to combine all of that to I'll see if I can play my part in changing the world for a better place.
Why do you like coaching? What is it about coaching and teaching that you love?
I love seeing, I can see people's potential, and I love the exploration that coaching gives to sort of uncover or allow the person to uncover their potential and move forward and, basically live their dreams. In the mental health field especially, I've recognized that a fair amount of the participants I've worked with, a lot of their problems have come from unrealized callings, and that is, is a tragedy really. So I want to, as much as possible, live my calling, helping other people live their callings, and I think that would make the world a much nicer place as well. Okay,
so and why do you like the Qigong? And obviously, I have a background with some of the Taoist martial arts and Qigong. That was my many years training and that stuff. But why do you love that?
again, well, so it's multifaceted, but essentially the power is in your own hands, kind of literally. But you know, it's something that I can do that gives me peace, tranquility. It allows me to have a certain level of power. I mean, when I do it in a martial sense, there's an inner power that I can use in that space. It's an awesome tool for growing, you know, physical, mental, emotional awareness. And it just gives me, you know, I haven't had to go to the doctor in 20 odd years. So in fact, I don't even have a Medicare card. I've been in Australia for about that time. Didn't bother getting a Medicare card yet. So, so yeah, self-empowerment really.
Great. Okay. So again, you know, you can see your skill set, as you've quite rightly pointed out, your skill set, it's certainly the coaching work's very interpersonal, and one-on-one is where you're going to get your clients the biggest breakthroughs. But in many ways, as you know, one-on-ones isn't a good business model. So
time poor.
Yeah, time poor. Now you've already identified getting people into their calling. So that's a really important thing, important thing. And just so those that are listening, I'm just going to clarify that a little bit. So everybody has a calling. And if they follow that calling, it leads to fulfillment. So as an example, right now, I'm completely fulfilled. And most of my day, I'm completely fulfilled, meaning I have a joy in what I do. And that didn't just happen by accident. I'm not doing all these things that I enjoy doing by accident. I worked out at a young age what I love to do, what my mission was, and therefore I only did that and I didn't do anything else. So once we can find out what's in us that needs to be fulfilled and we do that, well, obviously that just leads to a far superior and happier life. And I'll just bring this to me and just say that if I died tomorrow, I'd feel so satisfied with pretty much everything that I have done because I've lived my life based on my callings. Now, for the most part, I'd say a fair percentage of the people don't live that way. They grow up in fear. They grow up with parents that are also fearful. And the whole concept is to get security, get a job. And I've got nothing against that, by the way. But if you are driven by security, safety, and to get a job as a young person, you're not going to ask yourself things like, oh, what matters to me? What gives me juice? What gives me excitement? What do I love to do? What am I uniquely suited for? Which are the kind of questions that lead you to identifying your life path or your life purpose. And so what we live in is a world now where people are deeply unhappy doing work that's meaningless to them, that they hate, that they're not suited for. And that leads to health issues, that leads to relationship issues, that just leads to all sorts of challenges and issues for people. And just before I come back to you, Steve, when we're working with our business owner clients, you know, our job is to get them into their purpose and passion and into alignment, doing what they're here to do. And we delegate everything out to those that are more suited to the tasks that aren't in alignment with that business owner. And so we start to create happy, high-performing cultures when we think that way. Okay. Brian, you see us doing that all the time because you're part and parcel of that. Just quickly, Brian.
It's our duty, and you know, that's why people come to us.
Yeah, absolutely. What difference does it make, quickly, Brian, when teams are all in their sweet spot doing what they love, where the person who loves working on spreadsheets, which I want to kill myself if I had to work on spreadsheets day in, day out, but you've got people working on spreadsheets that love working on spreadsheets. You've got people making sales and communicating who love making sales. What difference does it make to a team culture, Brian?
Oh, it's joyful, Perry, and productive, and people in their happy place are going to strive and they're going to contribute to that team culture every single hour of the day.
That's right. That's right. You got everyone in their happy place doing what they're designed to do. Performance just goes through the roof, and we've got happy cultures. Okay, so Steve, then. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I've sort of already arrived at an answer. It's funny. Brian and I are working with a client today in a different space, but very much a people helping space. And we work with him around his ideal client and sort of gave him a real breakthrough and understanding about how to build his business. And I think we're going to go there with you. But before just going to that, I'm going to just ask you a couple of questions. Okay, so if you are running a business, getting people into their calling, the first challenge with that is how do you do it in mass so it doesn't rely on you? Or, okay, and Steve, just park that. You stay thinking about that because I'm just going to address any audience that's listening or watching at the moment. Okay.
Sure.
The business models are all business models are different, but some business models can only trap you. So when you trade time for money as your only source of income as a business owner, you're trapped, meaning you've only got 30 hours a week that you can work with clients, probably less than that, because to run your business also takes about 15 to 20 hours. So, and the moment you might get 35 hours worth of clients, your marketing stops, your business slows down, and suddenly you finish those clients and your marketing hasn't happened. And so you're rushing back out trying to get more clients. And then when you get clients, the clients sort of, you take them on and you suddenly become a roadblock to your business growth. And oftentimes in one-to-one models, that there's not enough scope of profit in that type of business model to employ other people to do things. So when we've got unlimited scale, and what's unlimited scale? Okay, so if I sold an ebook for $10, 2 million people could download that in the next 5 minutes, or 10 million people could download that in the next 5 minutes, or 30 million people could download that in the next 5 minutes. So that means there's unlimited scale in that business model. Now, not only does that business model of the $10 ebook have unlimited scale, it has total passivity. That means that I could write that ebook, sell it for $10 a million times over, and never have to do any other work than what I did to write the book and set it up and have the marketing working. And we would always go to automate our marketing. So this is just conceptual. You get that, Steve, don't you? There's unlimited scale and passivity. That's a good business model. Now, just add one other thing here. If you have unlimited scale and passivity and continuity, it means that you get paid for something many times over. So think about services like the Xero accounting package or Dropbox, where there are subscription fees. And so the software's built out. There's always got to be a team tweaking and improving the software. Once it's built out, most software has unlimited scalability, and then it's mostly passive apart from your techie team, and then you're paying monthly subscriptions. It's almost the ideal money-making model that allows you to go and live a good life, right? So you get that, Steve. Yeah. So back to that question. So how do you bring it back to your mission, because you want to empower people to be in their calling? How do you do that in a way that you aren't tying yourself up?
Yeah, so I've obviously been giving this some thought, and everything you just mentioned has been sort of, I've been with the strategies and with your learnings for quite some time now as well. So I'm thinking about, obviously at this stage I'm going to have to do some legwork, and so what's the best bang for buck in terms of like reaching more people? And so my current thinking is to develop speeches and speaking gigs, pointing that so basically to hook people in with inspirational talks, and then lead that onto my website, and then creating a funnel from the website to my online program, which is again the idea of that passivity space. So that's kind of, I think my first space is to get into the speaking market again, because that works on one of my strengths of enjoying being a performer. But at this stage, though, I'm still building the back end, so there's not a lot of point me going out and doing that until there's somewhere to point everybody to go to.
Well, I agree with you. I like your thinking. I can tell a little bit of your reservation because it's new to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you refine a couple of things and give you some things to think about. So I don't disagree with your approach in the slightest little bit. Okay, so that makes sense. I'm probably going to go sideways for a little bit, because the biggest challenge, so as I said, everything you said makes sense.
Yep.
And just for the audience, just to simplify things, when Steve goes out and teaches, there's scalability in that. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that Steve can put a room full of 100 people, 20 people, 80 people, 1,000 people, and he is able to do that talk. And that means that for his 2 hours or his hour and a half or his hour talk, he's able to reach 80 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. It's what we call one to the many. That's better than one-on-one, isn't it? Right? When you start to look at from a scalability perspective. But not only that, when he speaks in public, everyone sees that he is an expert, because he is. He's very good at what he does. And so that helps him with the know, like, and trust me aspect. And the other thing that Steve can do is he can record those talks, or some of them, and he can sell them as physical products. Or secondly, he can turn them into online masterclasses or webinars. They're just masterclass. Webinars are now called masterclasses because webinars were per se now, so that's the new way of calling it. But you can see that you're able to again duplicate speaking in public and then use it in your online conversion funnel as well. Okay, so that's a smart use and leveraging of time. What you don't understand, I've got screaming babies just in my ear at the moment. Not mine.
Luckily.
mine are men now. I'm going to just take you sideways for a second. I'm going to ask you a question. Sure. Who can most use what you have to offer?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about my target market, and that does swing depending on the slant that I put on my offering. But I'm currently, I think that my best market is 40 to 55-year-olds that essentially have, life, how life, a lot of people put the car into gear and off they go, and they find themselves kind of like the midlife crisis-y sort of space. But around that sort of point, you're starting to think slightly about your the fact that you're going to die one day, and did you really end up doing what you wanted to do, or did you just do what your parents told you or what you thought to do? So essentially I'm looking, and then hopefully they've got a bit of money to spend as well. So that's the kind of market I'm looking for. So a mature person that is looking for, to live out their calling in their life while they still can, and also looking for the health benefits that I can offer them with the Qigong.
Steve, I'm really pleased that you're thinking along those lines. Okay, I'm
Good.
really pleased. Okay, so I'm quickly going to tell you that the success of your business only relates to the conversation that we're actually having now. So it's easy enough to build out products. It's easy enough to build out courses. It's easy enough to build out your business model. But if you don't concentrate and get this part right, nothing else will work. So well done in understanding that. And I think that's a decent target market. I'm going to extend on that a little bit. There's another target market that I would like you to look at. And I'm just going to go sideways and engage Brian for a second, because we work with a client today. So Brian, we'll just kind of share that, because this is vitally important for Steve to hear. So today we work with actually an old friend of mine, someone that I really like, I really enjoy, and they turned up for a strategy session. And they are, they're very gifted at highly trained naturopath, spent 30 or 40 years developing their own healing protocols, and just incredible. I've seen them work miracles with people. But they're generalists. So in generalists, people come to them for getting candida dealt with, bad backs dealt with, and some heart problems dealt with, and so their sort of website represents this real generalist appeal. Does that make sense? Now, he wants to, well, the couple want to lift their game, and they've come to us smartly because they want to make good money, and they're sick of working with clients that they perceive, or not that they perceive, they know can't give them what they want. Okay, so as an example, just watch this. Brian, how dedicated are you to being fit and really healthy and well?
100%, Perry.
Yeah. And what are you willing to spend to achieve that?
Whatever it takes, because I had an event probably a little bit over a year ago that scared the living daylights out of me.
Right. Not great that you had that, but great. This is a great.
No, look, honestly, it was great.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because
a lot of people will ignore the symptoms to their peril.
Correct. Okay. So did you just hear what Brian said, Steve? Like, he's willing to pay the money to
Yep.
Okay. So we would consider him an A client. He's an A client because
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wants the outcome, and he will get the money to back that value of having what we call high level wellness. The gentleman I was talking to today, or the couple that we were talking to today, the wellness practitioner, their clients turn up when they're sick. At the moment they're well, they disappear, and they won't follow the protocols, not long term.
Yep.
Okay. Now, these people lack a lot of self-love, so they don't care about themselves, so they don't look after themselves, or they've got in such a precarious financial situation that they can't look after themselves, and they can't do what they want, and they're not willing to turn their monetary life around to get the money to look after their health. Yep, makes sense. So they're declines.
Yep.
Okay. So Brian is what we call a high need, high value client. Now, Brian's a businessman. So as a businessman, Brian, why is high level wealth important to you?
I expect
high level, sorry, I said high level wealth, and I hope that's important. High level health is important to you.
Look, I expect that of the people that we're working with, Perry, that they're functional, they're motivated, they're fit and energetic for the sessions that we need to have with them. So if I'm going to give my best to everybody who comes into my life, I owe myself that, and to my family as well.
You hear that, Steve?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
So what we explained to this wellness practitioner, we said the same question we asked you: who will really need and value what you have to offer? And the guy's smart enough. He said a business person, and I said yes, because business people, from a health perspective, first of all, if you're in business and you haven't learned to manage your emotions and you haven't learned to meditate and you haven't dealt with your traumas or undermining belief systems, you will be in emotional states that impact your body. Adrenal burnout's big for business owners, and all that affects their ability to run their businesses effectively and properly and make good quality decisions. So the moment, so we've got him pivoting and taking what he's got and purely bringing it to business owners. His entire website is all about being a specialist health practitioner to business owners so they can perform better. Okay? Now, he's in his early days with us, but if he follows that through, I know for a fact, he will do extremely well as a result of that, because to be quite honest, it's a fairly untapped space because most wellness practitioners aren't smart business people. Okay, they're really good at what they do. Yeah, you get me?
I just want to say something at this stage. I've just come out of doing some kind of mediation work with a organization. I'm dealing directly with the CEO and a couple of staff members. But what came out of that, apart from the fact that, you know, I was able to create magic and make everything disappear, thanks to just a little plug to Ignite Coaching, just using the 4 main personality types was just an aha moment for the whole team. That's made everything go away. So if anybody doesn't know about that, they should definitely check out this guy called Perry Mardon stuff. Anyway, little bit of a plug, but it was a fantastic work. But the thing that's relevant here is that the CEO is exactly the character you're talking about, heading to burnout, making rash decisions because they're working too hard. And when I was starting to talk about meditation, he piped up and said exactly that, you know, that's exactly what he needs to learn. So if I was to really sort of, what I've got written down here in terms of my target market, if I was to read the whole thing, is 40 to sort of 55-year-old, mainly male, because, you know, I'm a man myself, but CEOs or business owners are really who I'm looking to sort of target. I'm after people that are already in a leadership position, because this is about self-leadership and leading, you know, your daily routines and your daily activities to move forward.
Great. Well, that makes sense. And by the way, thank you for the plug. And for those that want to do a personality profile so you can work out your strengths and weaknesses and also help you understand your alignment, just go to www.businessdnaindicator.com. That's www.businessdnaindicator.com. And I was smiling when you shared that, Steve, because Brian will tell you the same thing. He loves it. He uses it as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's magic. It's magic.
Yeah, we use it to build our teams out. Like, but I'm not supposed to do this in the show. But Brian, by the way, you're going to be working with that tomorrow. With starting to work with that with the Emma and Co.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about that afterwards, but I won't be there. I'm going to be doing some other things. You're on board with them tomorrow. Okay. So what I would like you, I'm going to give you another target market. So I'm not off what you've said, but I think it needs some refining, and I'll come back to why.
Yep. Okay.
So if we come back to the calling, you know, getting in your calling, getting in your purpose, and getting in your mission, finding out what you really love to do, there is a female, let's talk about a lot of women when they're in their 40s, late 40s into early 50s, okay?
Yeah.
That's a transitional stage. At that stage, children are leaving home, and when children leave home, those of us that have been married for a long time, what's it like when children leave home for the ladies, for a lot of ladies? Brian, what's your experience when the children go? How's your wife with that?
Look, it was one of the worst experiences in our family. I've got two daughters. My eldest is 25, my youngest is 22. You know, and for me, I missed her every day. Every day she wasn't there. The separation from her and her mum and the family unit, it is actually quite traumatic from a parent's point of view.
Yeah.
Have we done enough? Is she okay? You know, we know all these things are okay, but there is a natural anxiety there that is explainable, but hard to comprehend.
And did Robin experience a loss of identity? So what happens? Yeah, she did. Yep.
Yeah, we had to look at our relationships. When Katie finally left, and she's not far away from us, by the way, there's a whole new chapter in our lives where we're sitting here by ourselves.
Yeah. So for this female target market, what happens is children leaving home, they've lived in the mother role. They've often been doing work that they don't really like part-time often, or they're running businesses and being mums. And children leaving home, and another thing happens at that point in time, kind of like the midlife crisis for the male, there's a menopause. And in the menopause, there's another loss of identity, okay? So in the similar way that you were targeting males that have, that are going through a midlife crisis, this female marketplace is a really good quality marketplace because they need your services at that point of time. Now, okay, now I just want to go somewhere because I can tell, and we'll probably close off with this and we're going to get back together in another couple of days and we'll record another show because there's more I want to go through with you if you're okay with that, Steve. Yeah, because as I said,
for sure.
I want to be able to do this and help you not make mistakes. Use our expertise and experience to not make mistakes and be able to build a business that gives you time freedom. That's what we do with our clients, right?
That's what I want.
We want you to be able to go and have lots of fun and live a passionate life and do some of the things that I like to do. Spend a lot of time outside doing sports and all that sort of stuff. And we don't want you working all the time. You need time off and money to do that. That's why we want you to build a good business model. Okay, so I could tell from what you said when you started to talk about the business person, and you talked about the midlife crisis, you talked about the leadership space.
Yeah.
You need greater clarity about the person's problem. Okay. And at this point, you're sort of looking at quite a few problems they may be having. Now, you'll get where I'm going with this in a second. For the leadership person, you know, they're not on their purpose. The business owner is not on their purpose. They're stressed and run down and they don't know how to meditate, right? Okay. Yeah. You know, they're having a bit of a midlife crisis. There's too many things there. Okay, now I'll explain this, okay? When you were a teenager, did you ever have pimples?
I was pretty lucky, but yeah, a few. Okay.
So when a teenager has pimples, Brian, did any of your kids have pimples?
No, they're genetically blessed, Perry.
Yeah. No wonder you were Adonis. Yeah, great. Okay. So when a teenager, let's say a young man, quite a young girl, will be the same. When a teenager has pimples, say at 14, 15, 16, how do they feel?
Terrible. Embarrassed.
Yeah. And it coincides with them having an upshot of what in their bodies?
The sexual energy, testosterone, estrogen.
The sexual energy. You're looking at the opposite sex. I want to go playing. I want to go have some fun, but I've got all these things over my face, right? Now.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one big problem they have. Now, we live in a world now where everyone's advertising everything. And in the old days, my dad, he would read the newspaper. And Brian, because you're from there, he was reading the press.
Yep.
Right? Now, when my dad read the press, he could tell me what ads were on those pages because there weren't a lot of ads. He could tell me the ads. He would see the ads. By the time my dad died, he wouldn't see the ads because there were so many ads on the page that his brain started to block out ads. And have you gentlemen noticed that you can look at a website and you know there's banner ads there, but you don't even see them, right? You're excluding them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a thing called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system, if you've got pimples and you're a kid and you're reading the cartoons, it will notice the ad that talks about healing your pimple problems. And you'll be drawn to it. It'll be an unconscious mechanism. Does that make sense to you, Steve?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Okay. So this simplicity of problem to advert and promising to deal with that one problem is also one that takes out all confusion. There's nothing confusing about the message. If you've got pimples, we have the formula that can guarantee to solve them. Can you see that's a simple match?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
Okay. So you can already tell you were not looking at simple matches. So one of the things I want you to work on before we get together next time is to define one core problem in this. If we go with a business person, the one core problem that you will solve for them.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah. Now, what this will do is bring in simplicity. So I'm just going to quickly share this before we go. Let's just say it's stress. Okay, let's just imagine you solve business owners and executives' stress. Okay, and through solving their stress, you help improve their performance. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep, yep.
And then underneath that, you can also say that will have a positive impact on your family relationships, on your health. You get this?
Yep.
Focusing on the one problem and being the expert that solves that problem creates a simplicity in messaging, and it cuts through any confusion, and the person reading that ad is not getting confused. They start to perceive you as an expert in this one thing. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay, now when you're doing that, if you've got a high need, high value avatar, meaning they really want that outcome because there's too much pain if they don't. So a business owner, I can't live in this stress anymore. It's ruining my health. It's ruining my decision making. I have to do something. Oh, here's this expert that only does that. Get me?
Yep.
Right? Nothing else confusing to them. That's when you start to position yourself as an expert to one core problem, and then all marketing messages can move around that one core problem. Okay? Now, you have other things that you want to do with your clients, right? You've got other product offerings.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't mention those things up front. You don't mention those things in your marketing. Because if you do, suddenly you are not an expert that solves this one problem.
Yeah.
Okay. You now start to become a generalist. Your marketing messages start to mix. They don't hit your target market in the way that you need those messages to hit your target market. Am I being clear?
Yep, you're diluting your offer, aren't you?
You're diluting your offer. Okay. So as an example, we only go out into the marketplace with this one direction, this problem we solve. But once people join and work with us and they're on our database, we run relationship workshops. We've done all sorts of things, and you've seen us do that. We've run all sorts of things behind the scenes, but at that point, we have solved people's core problems. We know we're an expert, and we can start to stack the other stuff in behind. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
If you don't do that, you'll be in trouble, I promise you, because your marketing will lack clarity.
You've just done my homework for me, which is great.
Good. Okay. Brian, anything do you want to say before we go? I get in trouble when I run these shows too much from my team because
in all of this business stuff, people need to know that it will overflow into their general life.
Yeah.
There is a dual benefit in this that I don't think people are even aware of.
Yeah. They're not. That's what Brian said is correct. When you just say, I'm dealing with a business owner's stress and I'm helping you de-stress, the impacts to every other area of their life is insane, but that comes off the one selling point, the one problem that they're identifying. And then you're able to extrapolate the benefits of solving that problem. So you're able to make a really compelling sales argument for why they need to come and see you speak. Okay? I hope that's helped you. I hope everyone got a lot from today's show. We love doing this work. Brian, you're a really passionate person who likes to help people in business solve their problems. You enjoy it, don't you, Brian?
I love it.
Yeah, fun. You're in your happy place too. So for those of you that are watching, if you want a little bit of a breakthrough, come and do a strategy session with me and Brian. We'll work with you together, and you're guaranteed heaps of insight and breakthroughs. You get to see how we work, but we'll solve some immense business problems for you and quite quickly with the two of us working with you. So go to the website, perrymardon.com, and come do a strategy session. And Steve, we will get back to you and let's keep this rolling so we can all learn from it.
Love it. Great. Thank you very much. And I know everyone will be getting heaps from this because I have.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.